the hypocrisy of this whole system going out is...
Yeah.
A couple of years ago, they were complaining that Bitcoin miners were using too much electricity. We're drawing on the grid. We're going to make the world hotter. Bitcoin miners are so bad. And here they want to run something that's going to run like 15,000 times more electricity than a Bitcoin mining operation globally. Like the input into that electrical usage and the cooling systems. The cooling systems. So you're going to know it's a 5G tower. A, it's going to be incredibly tall, like 80, 90 feet in just a vertical tower, because it needs to get line of sight down onto the other towers and then repeat those flats. So there's going to be smaller repeater towers, then you'll have that large central tower feeding, and it'll be like, it goes out like this. Those, if you look at the bottom, there's 3 boxes. 1 box is for the electronics, 2 boxes are for cooling. They're 2 independent cooling units because it's running such a high frequency that it gets so hot in there. If one of those cooling units was to break, or somehow that the unit was not, like some hose or something became disconnected where the unit was no longer cooling that tower, it would catch on fire by itself. But the amount of power going in just for the cooling systems on that thing. And these guys are griping about Bitcoin miners, and they want to put out something that's running thousands of times more input. They're going to use nearly every single kilowatt on this planet to run that system. It's not efficient to keep cooling towers going for everything every 1,000 feet.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think it's going to take to power that system? And the amount of power going into, it's almost like the Hadron Collider. They got so much power going in. Like, what extra dimensional entity can jump into that power range? Because we're going way above anything off the human frequency. You're so far above anything human. You're actually going into interdimensional, like super godlike size, to put that much power into place and run it as fast. They're going into things that we had to make new words for because there's never been that much power in a single location on the whole planet ever. So you look in the Hadron Collider, they're developing new words to explain how much power is in that one place. And the amount of power, this whole grid. So you're conserving all this, turn off your fucking light. Turn off your light. Excuse me.
Oh, it's fine.
You know what I mean? The hypocrisy of it all. And then they're going to try to sell it like it's, I don't know, we're in a la-la land here.
It could almost be a wonderful science fiction novel written several years ago where we created this 5G grid and it let demons in. That started to attack the Earth. Then we found some really cool way to kill them all at the end of the movie.
And everybody who didn't want to participate had to run to the trees.
Yeah. Oh.
And it split society because you had the city dwellers and the forest dwellers.
Yes. The city dwellers, they all liked the demons. And the forest people didn't. It's kind of...
Yeah, there's going to be a split. Because transhumanism, you knocked on it there, that download of instant information into your brain. Because I see as things rolling out, just 5G, but the way they're pushing towards, integration of actual literal hardware into your brain stem, or something like this for children, including you, the transhumanist movement, I do believe is going to split us into 2 species. Because, like myself, I'm going to the forest to live with the Sasquach out there, who might have been the second iteration that happened once before. They're living underground. They're living out in the forest. They're so afraid of humans that they run the other direction like 1,000 miles an hour uphill. To get away from us. That's how terrified they are of us. So what happened before instinctively their intuition turning on, understanding the threat assessment of us? They're living in the forest, living underground. They're outside of signal range, both above on satellites and from the tree blockage. So maybe they were running to the forest as well to escape what we're about to go through again. Maybe we're 2.0. Maybe we're 2.0, and the previous, what is considered, unknown species of whatever hominids in the forests, that was us before, and they also took off to the forest to escape. Maybe that's too far out there to think.
I would love to live with the Sasquatches, maybe, or at least see some, because having spent a lot of time in the woods, especially in the Pacific Northwest, and there's a certain belief you get in something when you've experienced it. And so I've definitely been around some Bigfoot. Oh my heavens, out in the woods.
Oh, have you seen tracks or something?
Well,
I'm not making a joke either. There's a bipedal hominid that's just a non-identified species, or they identified it. And they won't. There's a silence range in there in the middle of it. Is it real or not? But there's so much forensic evidence now. In a court of law, you'd have been proven 100 times correct over. There's so much evidence.
And people who live in different parts of the country and world who experience them, they like to throw logs. They do all kinds of things. And so I've had some experiences with the Bigfoot out there because being a hunter, I'm always out. Hunters go further out than people usually do. Yeah. You're not exactly a hiker. You're a hunter. So you're out there. And you'll be walking, and I've had rocks thrown at me in the woods. And you can see, they're coming from over there, And so you go over there like, all right, look around the tree and nothing there. And I've had things track me. I even have pictures of it where it would start like 100 yards out, come in like 75, come in like 25. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And then but it's moving. It's moving instantly from a place like here to here to here without a sound. Through brush, forget it. You could never go, this thing is like just, it translocates, just dink, dink, dink. And then I'm like, okay, maybe this is the end. And he was gone. And I have pictures of him. He's just getting closer and closer. So when you experience it, you go, yeah, there's something.
But what about the frequency range? Because there's a lot of talk about these things have frequency. They're able to manipulate frequency really well to be able to scare you, because a lot of people get incredible fright when they get even close to these things, or they move incredibly fast, or they disappear within and out of visual range. You get a lot of this, what you're talking about.
We call it the feeling.
So there's something going on where they're masters at manipulating frequency.
Yeah, we call it feeling in the other hunters I know and such out in the woods. We just call it the feeling because when they are close, you are scared. And we just call it the feeling. I mean, your hairs go up in the back of your neck, and it's just terror. But you know what? It's odd. You just get used to it, and you tend not to want to look up, which you always do, because you tend to get a feeling.
It's like the horror movie. Don't split your fingers.
Yeah, don't split your fingers. You kind of think, it's above me. I know it's somewhere. And then it will pass.
If pass.
Either it will come and go, or you'll move out of the area. But yeah, it's just called the feeling. And oh man, when you get it, yes, I could tell you. I believe, yes, the Bigfoot can just manipulate energy, and they can, I don't know what all they can do to you, but they can make you just unglued terror.
Now again, it's a frequency wave. So in the 5G carrier wave, if they found and they can mimic that frequency,
you would not want
they can do the same thing. Again, they're interrupting electrical disruption in your physiology that creates effects, whatever that effect is that can be gotten out of there. So that terror, the fear, there's so many, that's just a frequency to change.
And that's just one Bigfoot. And that's one scalar antenna, one biological scalar antenna.
Yeah, and what about the size of New York City covered with 5G, how they could tweak that one, right? Like, you're thinking about Atlanta covered in 5G, how they could bend the frequency and what coverage they could get. Imagine if each one of those is like its own satellite receiver where they electrify each city. I mean, you're turning the whole planet into a receiver at that point, or a transceiver, whatever it be. Because if you get 5G in all those major cities across the planet and you fire them up to full frequency, imagine if the whole planet changes its frequency to 37 gigahertz or something. Every city, and it's all broadcasting out or having. They're changing the planet's physiology. It's truly interdimensional. It's beyond being planetary body at that point. You're actually manipulating the planet. So what kind of civilization is that?
Through
frequency.
Know. Well, yeah. I mean, I guess what we are
going to... Full 5G rollout. You do it in every city, man. Can you imagine the combined effect of the vibration planet-wide would be?
All of a sudden, everybody's running from Bigfoot. Oh, my God.
They're here.
It's in Starbucks.
It's in Starbucks. It was waiting for coffee. I didn't even see it.
Oh, my gosh.